Hey, it's Joanna with another Soul Smart video for you today. And this time we're talking about how to stop going around in circles, how to stop repeating old patterns and behaviors so that you can actually experience something different in your life, in your work, in your business, in whatever area you want to experience something different in. Now, first of all, let me just say that I have a cold, so my voice sounds really weird. So if you watch other videos, you'll see that my voice is slightly different, and that's okay. So yeah, so how to stop repeating patterns? As I record this, it's January, and everybody's talking about how this year is going to be the year, and how to make 2020 really fantastic, and the best year, and all this stuff. And the truth is that everybody wants something different from every new year, right? Like there's very few people, they exist, but there's very few people who will say, oh, like I'm totally fine. There's nothing more that I want to experience. There's nothing more that I want to achieve. There's nothing more that I want to be or have. So we all want something different, but the truth is that most people won't actually get something different. We'll just get more of the same. And the reason for this is that although you can get caught up in that excitement of a year ending and a new beginning and all the infinite potential that goes along with that, once the year starts, most people will just revert to old behaviors, will just revert to the old identity that they hold of this kind of person or that kind of person, and they won't actually do anything different. They won't shift their perspective. And so they can only get the same sorts of results, more of the same. And so how do you actually break out of this cycle, right? Because it's a cycle, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who has repeated this for several years. Like I've had many years where I started the year with the same exact goals as I had the year before, and nothing really changed. Like I didn't experience a significant change. So if that's you as well, then keep listening, because we're going to be talking about how to break this cycle. So the way you break the cycle and stop going around in circles is to start with you and not the goal. All right? Because the goal that you want to achieve, the thing that you want to experience, that thing that you want to create, it's dependent on you. Everything starts with you, right? And you can look at this from the energy perspective, where everything in your world is created through your energy and through your energy interacting with the energy of the world. And you can look at it from a more practical, logical lens, and really, really understand that the kind of person that you are, or the way that you see yourself, or the kind of person that you think you are, is going to really affect the choices that you make and the actions that you take in your life. So, for example, if you see yourself as an author or a writer, if that's your identity, if you can say, I am a writer, I am an author, then you're likely going to make time and space in your life to write. Right? Which makes it a lot easier to reach a goal like starting a blog or writing a book, any of those things, right? But if you identify as the kind of person who's really busy and can never quite carve out the time for writing, then what do you think is going to happen? Are you going to reach those book goals? No, it's not possible, right? Because you will perpetuate that reality of not having enough time. So the shift that needs to happen is in you, from a person who doesn't have time to a person who is already a writer, who is already an author, and therefore acts and behaves as an author-writer would. Another example is the story that we've all heard so many times of lottery winners, right? Lottery winners, if somebody who identifies as poor, who is poor and really sees themselves as poor, if they win the lottery, they don't become wealthy, right? They lose that money relatively quickly, studies show, and they go back to their same level of wealth or being poor. And that's because they don't identify as a wealthy person. They identify as a poor person. And the sets of behaviors and the sets of patterns for those two different identities are very, very different. So you basically need to assume a whole different identity. Allow yourself to be this whole other person instead of holding yourself back by perpetuating the behaviors that have kept you from your goal in the past. So how do you actually do this? How do you actually step into this identity? By focusing not on what you want to do, but on how you want to be and how you want to feel. And by committing to that. So like if you decide that you want everything in your life to feel joyful, then you need to be using that as a filter for making decisions, for making choices, and have the courage to say no to the things that don't feel joyful, or that you know already in your bones will not bring you more joy, will not bring more joy into your life, right? So this is how you can make a shift from one identity to another. If you want to feel like a writer, that comes with certain behaviors and certain beliefs and certain patterns and certain choices, right? If you want to feel fit, healthy and fit, that also comes with a certain identity. So this is how you break out of the cycle, by not focusing on what you want to do, but more focusing on who you want to be and how you want to feel. And this is kind of the basis of how you can make changes in your life, because otherwise what's happening is you're setting these goals, these aspirations that are so outside of your current identity that it's virtually impossible for you to get there. And you keep pushing and pushing and pushing and striving and striving and striving and getting more and more frustrated because nothing really changes or nothing significant changes. And you keep kind of ending back in the same place of wanting more and not getting it and getting really sick of that, right? And I know that place well. It's somewhere I used to reside. And this is how I learned to break out of it. And that's what I'm sharing with you. So there you have it. That's how you break that cycle of going around in circles and repeating the same behaviors over and over again. You change the story you tell about yourself. So you identify with a different story. You start thinking of yourself as the kind of person who would naturally achieve those things that you want, naturally get to experience those things that you want. You identify how you want to feel instead of what you want to do and achieve. And you commit to that and actually have the courage to make choices based on how you want to feel and say no to the things that make you feel a different way or the opposite of how you said you wanted to feel. So if you want to feel ease, say no to things that feel hard. Right. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next video.